All right, Dustin. What's your last name?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Um, First question. I put a link on the internet for strangers to come talk to me, and I'm always curious because not everybody's into that.
Yeah.
And some people we've never talked before.
Nope. Never met.
No. So I'm always curious, like what makes somebody say yes?
Yeah. Man, I've been following you for a little while, Alex. So joined the War Room back in 2021, or I think. And yeah, I've been following you for a little while. You always seemed like the guy who was kind of like behind the scenes. Like I see you promoting a lot of people, doing a lot of things. I mean, everything from Shelby over at Five Pillars to Dave. um, and now out there in Hawaii with Brandon Turner. So just been following your story for a minute and jumped on the opportunity when I saw you post. Um, you posted a while back too about small business acquisition. That's something that I've been following for a little while, and got some multifamily properties that I got into last year, kind of stabilized, and was like interested in the War Room doing something like that. So I wanted to just talk a little bit and steal some of your time.
Okay. Yeah. Where do you live?
I'm in Scottsdale right now. I just moved here from Phoenix, from DC last year. So prior Air
Bro,
Force,
I'm gonna be in DC next week.
I'll probably be up there. I'm in DC every other week or so. So we have an
What?
office out in Georgetown that I go to quite frequently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I love DC and I love Scottsdale. I don't know Scottsdale that well, but man, every time I go there, I'm like, this is heaven.
Scottsdale's pretty badass. Like we didn't expect to like it as much as we did, and we really like it. We lived in Arlington up there in the Ballston area,
Yeah, it's a
and
swamp. I love it there, but it's a swamp.
yeah, yeah,
Both
yeah.
both both philosophically and weather-wise. Yeah,
DC, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, love DC. I was there last week. Like I said, I'm moving this week to the north side of Phoenix, and we'll be probably back in DC next week or the week after. I travel there quite frequently, so
Yeah, I'll be there for like one day. Do you know Tyler Goebel?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
So I'll be there next week. I'm gonna hang out with him and some other folks. I'm going out there for a
Cool.
property that I bought or partnered with some people on a property out in Maryland. So I'll be out there not for long, 3 days or something like
Nice. Yeah. Hell yeah.
that. Well, I don't own any small businesses. I know a little bit because I did underwriting for a little while,
Yeah.
and I'm somewhat focused on that like sort of field right now. I'm watching. I'm not a hyper entrepreneur. Definitely an investor first. So um, I'm definitely watching that field, and I have some friends that are doing it and moving on that field. So definitely happy to be useful if I can. But I just want you to know up front, like I am not a subject matter expert. Um, but I did do some underwriting for small businesses for a while for in the SBA. So I know that field a little bit.
And that's kind of the phase I'm at right now. Is I have met some great people out here in Scottsdale, and we're constantly just looking at deals every week, and just seeing who what makes sense. I'm in the underwriting phase, really like the search phase. Sounds like some people are able to like quit their jobs and go full time into this gig, and I'm not there. I like my day job too much right now, and yeah, no interest on just quitting or anything
What's
like that.
your day job?
So I work at Palantir. You
Oh,
Palantir.
that's was that Peter Thiel's company?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Peter Thiel had some. He was involved. Yeah,
Okay, I don't know if I'm.
yeah. No, no. He is. No, you're not stepping on any toes. I just. Yes, Peter Thiel was one of the co-founders, I believe. I don't know the whole backstory there. I just depend on who your audience is. He's like hit or miss with a lot of people. I have no qualms with the guy or anything like that at all. Like he's brilliant
Oh,
from what I've heard.
I am. First off, I have extraordinarily thick skin.
Yeah,
Secondly, and by that I mean like I don't have my self-worth wrapped up in somebody's opinion about some other stranger that happens to have some opinions that don't agree with mine. So like I wasn't making like, oh, Peter Thiel, I have some big opinion. I'm like, he founded it, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I do. Yeah, he was one of the main co-founders, I
yeah.
think.
What do you do there?
I'm a deployment strategist, so I I look okay. I am like so we hire some of the best engineers across the world, right? Like all of them come to work for us. I am the opposite of that. I am like your liaison between like the engineer speak and the DoD. So we come out, work with Southern Command, work with Indo-PACOM, and we're in a way like a technology consultant. Have you heard of your Project Maven? This maybe don't chop some of this stuff out if we if you post any of this, but
Don't say anything. Don't say anything that's a secret.
yeah, oh yeah, checks. But so we do everything from like software integration. So we're making the DoD a lot better, right? We're
Gotcha.
delivering AI to the warfighter was our motto under Project Maven, and yeah, love it. It is a very unique position to be in, and
Dude,
the impact that this company is making is unparalleled by a lot of things going on out there.
well, I'll tell you this. You sound cool.
That's my job. I mean, I guess that's what I do. I am a people person. I get in the door, I meet people, and try to translate what the DoD needs to our engineers, and make sure it's functioning in that capacity.
It's funny you explain it that way. I kind of do that with cameras. You know, I'm a creative. I'm a camera creator, but I'm also I'm also like a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and I know all the real estate investors. And nowadays they all want cameras, and I'm like, you don't speak that language, and so you have no idea what you're asking for. And I find myself being a translator more often than not. Um, okay. So do you have a buy box for what you're like, what small businesses you're looking at? What have you underwritten? What have you liked? Like what's your investing philosophy?
I thought I wanted to stay away from like food and beverage coming into it. And the short answer is no. I read the book Buy Then Build. I pick up the Harvard Business Review, How to Buy a Small Business. And anytime like I start underwriting anything like under $1 million, something that I could do by myself or maybe with one partner or like a COO equivalent, I start getting into the trap of, well, it's not food or beverage, which is good, but then I don't want to buy that job also. I could completely see myself buying something with if it had enough SDE that I could walk into and make a decent salary and kind of oversee it. But at the same time, I got my first baby boy coming this summer, first child,
Congratulations.
and we got into the small multifamily last year. We took on two big projects at the same time, closed on them on the same month. Both of them needed extensive rehabs, and I was just grinding. I was on the Indo-PACOM project at the time, so I was flying from DC to Hawaii every month, and somehow managing, in between meetings, like calling contractors, running it down, getting things ordered, and doing it. So,
Um,
like some. Oh, go
let
ahead.
me, I'll tell you a little side quest.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like food as a business, but I got a
Yeah.
friend who has got me super hot on this idea that maybe you'll like. We found this company called the Flynn Group. Have you ever heard of this? The Flynn Restaurant Group?
No, I'm taking some notes here, but
Check
no,
this
go
guy
ahead.
out, Greg Flynn. In 1990, he buys like an Applebee's. And then a few years later, he buys like six Applebee's. And now, 20 years later, they are the largest owner of food franchises in the US, in the planet. And they own something like 2,600 restaurant. They're all franchises. And I got a buddy of mine who now went off and I think he had a Marco's Pizza, then he bought two. Now this year he's going to buy two more. He already contracted with them. He bought two Dairy Queens. And I'm like, we should buy 100 of these. So I don't know if that interests you, but that's a way to kind of do a little bit of both where you're like, hey, this is small business. It's scalable. You don't have to go in there and run it every day. I don't know. That's something I've been thinking about. I don't know. That's like not really what you asked me, but like I'm super hot on that idea.
Yeah, no, very, very interesting. And like, I'm not against food and beverage. It just seemed like something that I didn't want to initially start into. But yeah, I worked in bars and restaurants my whole college career. I was actually underwriting on a bar last week here in downtown Phoenix because it's what made sense. So
Well, this is why I like franchises because I'm like, dude, I don't want to be in the restaurant business, but I do like the idea of being in the franchise business
yeah,
where I'm not trying to like compete with the systems of a big operation. But anyways, yeah. So
yeah, no, fascinating stuff though. That's uh, would be cool. I think that again, not against the restaurant space, just don't know. I looked at some franchise. I was even looking at pest control last week. We were underwriting some pest control owners, and then uh, started looking at a pest control franchise to kind of compare the two and stuff. And that just seemed one would really be leaking out some cash for the first 1 to 2 years until you get it to a level that you can scale it at.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I got a bunch of friends doing this. I can connect you with like I think the guy you probably want to meet is Anthony Mirable.
Is he in the warring?
He's in the war room.
Marab. Mirable.
Yeah. I'll do a
Check him out.
I'll do an email introduction between you
Yeah,
guys.
I would love that. Yeah, thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
He's doing the exact same thing and he's in the same position as you. He's like, I'm in underwriting. I'm just trying to like look at a lot of deals, trying to put some offers in, trying to see what makes sense. Um, so he's in the same boat as you. He's in the war room. He's actually in my squad. He's a good dude, hard worker. And he's partnered up with another guy in the war room named Dean, and they're doing the same thing as you. So like, yeah.
Would
And
love to
that's
meet him.
and that's why I'm here because like, dude, I'm not doing that, but like, dude, I'm a I, it, I'm a super connector. And for whatever reason, it's not. I know, like you said, you love people. Like I love people, and I'm not. It's just like for some reason that's the my position in life. I just know how to connect people. So
I fancy myself a master networker as well, and I actually had connector on my LinkedIn, trying to like label myself that way, right? I mentor a lot of veterans through Veterati each month, and that is like the card that I play is like this is how we network, this is what we do. Who else can I connect you to make sure you get that referral for that job or whatever you need to like move forward and get other eyes on resumes and things like that. So yeah, that's awesome to hear that. That's exactly
yeah,
how I see myself.
I just love it. I've made a lot. I've made other people a lot more money connecting them than I have made for myself.
Yeah.
Someday that's gonna pay off for
Yeah.
me.
Right, right. And what so you're out there in Maui, right?
Yeah, I'm in Maui.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you like what's next for you? What are you doing?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go to Austin next, actually, pretty soon.
Move there.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice. Austin's pretty cool. I'm from
yeah.
Texas. My parents live just about an hour outside of Austin now, so I visited. Little brother went to UT. I would have never made it through college had I lived in that town, but I went to Texas Tech right up the road. So,
I've only visited a few times. I don't know anything about Austin, but it's
oh, it's killer. You're gonna love it.
it's a booming, yeah, it's a booming city, and yeah, we're excited. I think the opportunity out here has been tremendous, but um, well, I came out here. I wanted to build Brandon a podcast, a video podcast, and I did that, and then I also successfully outsourced said podcast. So um, I'm pretty I'm pretty happy. And now it's time to go off and do something else. And I love cameras, like the universe, um, or God, depending on how you describe the world. Somebody handed me with this gift and love of cameras, and I love it, and I will never get rid of it. But also, um, at the end of the day, it is a gift of passion. It is not a very profitable endeavor,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, dude, I can make more money in real estate in one deal than I can in a year with cameras. And if I do the real estate, I can still do the cameras. So I came out here. I did this project with Brandon, and I'm very happy with how much I got done, and how it looks and the process. And I've successfully been able to, not completely, but it's pretty much turned over. I got a young kid out here that I'm outsourcing everything to and teaching him, and that's all fun. Um, but yeah, it's time to get to back to real estate.
Exciting. You think you'll operate in like you can do some development out there or some multifamily space, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, here's my current idea, and I could very much be wrong about this, but this is my sort of current philosophy. When I first started getting into real estate, I was like, man, you buy for cash flow day one, right? Or like, some deep value add. And I just don't think that that's as possible as it once was. 5, 6 years ago, and we all have to adapt. That's why probably you're looking at small businesses because you're like, hey, multifamily, but you can't get the deals you could 5 years ago. And do I want to, buy a property for $1 million that makes 5% and just sit there and like grind it out and hopefully rents will go up in 10 years? And like, it's just not what it used to be. So what I've learned is I'm much more of a people person and an investor than like a hardcore entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. So that's a long way of saying I'm not looking at specific asset classes. I'm looking at people. And I'm like, which people do I know are going to be the best investment and how can I add value to them? And so, and those people all are in a little bit different asset classes. So for me, it's a bit of a diversification play. So I have a list of about, call it 10 people. And those are the people that I'm like, hey, maybe 12. Let's say if I had 12 people that I'm like, hey, I'm going to spend the next decade with these 12 people. And I just once a month, I go and spend a month down there and with so-and-so, and another month I spend with this person, and sort of that idea where I'm like, planting a lot of seeds. So I don't have a concrete plan for what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a big real estate meetup in Austin. That's for sure going to happen. I'm still going to continue to buy properties with my partner. So I'm going to raise money. So that's part of it. And one of the things that I do, Dustin, is I create like really interesting, I have that camera. So I create really interesting media around, projects, so to help raise money or to help like sell deals. So I did that for a few years. I'm gonna lean into that, do a lot more of that when I get there.
And you connect. I saw he was just recently out there for y'all's podcast, but Brian Lubin's out in Austin, right?
Yeah, I just met him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Cool.
we're friends now.
Yeah, killer. Yeah, killer. Really good.
You know him?
Yeah. So we're not like bros or anything, but like, yeah, I've been following him in the Action Academy, been ingesting their podcast since it came out. Would love to join their mastermind as well. It's been something I've been toying with for a long time, but yeah, love the guy's energy. Everything about Brian is just great. He's good stuff. Like,
He's a killer. He
yeah,
seems like a good dude. He's young. He's just got fire.
yeah, yeah. You get hyped up talking to that guy, so he's good.
Yeah.
Shit.
What other masterminds you part of?
Just the war room right now. I did Tribe of Titans when I first started out and got into real estate. I was really a part. Started out doing a few flips, almost got raked whenever the interest rate started hiking up. And as I joined the war room, I'm like, I hadn't probably been out of the military for like a year, and I'm just like about to get crushed because like I had one flip in Atlanta. I was living in DC, got another one going in San Antonio, and had a few partners, so I didn't get crushed as bad as I would have. But it joined the yellow squad in the war room, and these guys, like, I can't put a price on how much these guys probably saved me, right? Like, this is
Dude,
like, War Room is like
War Room is the most underpriced mastermind. It should be $1,000 a month easy.
Yeah, these guys. I mean, every week I was just experiencing something like crazy new, and it was like, if you could think of like your worst experience, like in real estate, with like, like thought I was buying in like a gentrifying area in Atlanta. It turns out that was not the case at all. One guy owned every single house on the block except for mine, and the house next to us burned down. Our staging furniture got robbed. Like total, like you're just very first flip nightmare scenario. We got broken into several times. Like we think like people were in on it. God, it was crazy. Like just nightmare scenario. And got three more, did all those, got out, like I said, remotely unscathed in 2021, and then got into multifamily and oversaw a few projects. Still take some lumps along the way. Still, learning some good lessons here and there. But I think I'm ready.
We all do, bro.
Small business, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, dude, I love that trajectory. It sounds like you got a good trajectory. Who's in your squad?
Dave. I'm gonna mess his last name up. Dave Oshline, Dave O. He's retired Navy. We got Al Soto. We got Chris Levy, Mike Teeter, and Jimmy's in there. And then we have we have one other guy. I can't remember. I'm seeing his face. I just can't remember his first name. But yeah,
I know Chris. Chris and I talked like this actually, like about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. If you could meet one person that would solve all your problems, who would that person be?
That would solve all of my problems.
Business problems.
I would want to reach. I would talk. Who I would talk to is probably Brian Lubin or some. I think he's going to blow up like Cody Sanchez one day. I
Right.
think Cody Sanchez is changed the game for small business acquisition. So I would talk to her, just someone from her team that works for her. Like,
You can join her group.
yep. Hers is another one that I've just been fascinated with and love the energy, love the content they're putting out. Like, she's in Austin too, I think. So
Yeah, I
you
met
know,
her
oh, of course you
because
did.
she was on our podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know
yeah,
her, but I met her.
yeah. Very cool.
Um, all right. Yeah, I can't introduce you to her. Um,
No,
dude, I can introduce you to Brian though.
Brian Lubin.
Yeah, but you met him, you
Yeah,
said?
yeah. I've met Brian a few times. We've talked a few times.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, great stuff. Like, hang up the phone. Very energized by the guy. Love him. Just haven't pulled the trigger on joining his mastermind or Cody's in the past. Just been focused on learning all I can. Like, and yeah, been working. Been travel quite a bit for work too. So I wanted to make sure like timing was right. If I'm going to join one of their masterminds, I want to be able to attend the calls, go all in, and things like that. And my travel schedule was just kind of unpredictable for about 6 months.
Yeah, dude, you're also, I'll tell you what, like the whole world is sleeping on the war room. So like you're in the right group. Without having to drop, big I know some people that are in Cody's group and like I've heard mixed results.
Yeah.
Um, but it sounds to me like, I don't know, dude, you're in a good group, you got a good squad. Um, yeah. I bet you once you decide, like once you move forward on a business, you'll be like, okay, now I need to meet people that have this type of business. And I think that's when things will line up for you. But um, yeah. Dude, I don't think I can help you. You sound like you got your shit together.
Alex, it was a pleasure to like just meet you and like say hello. And I could have come probably too with like some questions prepared and things like that. I just saw your link on there. We have a lot of like overlapping interest. Cool to learn about even more of them as we talked. But it's yeah, been following you for a long time, man, and it was cool to say hello.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, I
I'm
just
very
always try to be
grateful
like,
for the time.
I always try to be useful to people. That's all. You don't have to like,
Yeah,
it's always good to get to know people, but I always try to be useful. I don't want people to be like, oh, I mean, small talk's fine, but
yeah. Well, no,
um,
I'm benefiting. You mentioned connecting me. I'm gonna look up Greg Flynn. I'm gonna talk to Anthony Marable and see where things go.
yeah,
So
Anthony's a
it's
killer.
always like one connection away. Like you meet one person can completely change the trajectory of everything. It's crazy.
Dude, that's why I do this.
Yeah. Anything
I
you need from
actually,
me? Anything I can help with?
I did this years ago. Oh, did I lose you? I did this years ago where before I would record them, I did this. I've been doing this for years. Just like strangers, like here's a link, just talk to me. And a guy came
Yeah.
one day and he's like, "Hey, I saw you wanted on your blog. You wanted to buy multifamily." And I was like, "I do." And he's like, "I found this 24
Yeah.
unit,
Just started.
um, and I want to buy it, but I'm a little bit afraid. I need some help, but I think I have all the money for it." And so we ended up putting an offer and buying that 24 unit together. And I did it from these kind of chats. So like I'm a super big believer, like that one person where you're just like, who is gonna change my life? So yeah.
Fucking doing the right thing, man. If
Yeah.
I can ever help with anything, don't hesitate to
Are you
reach
going to
out.
this Keystone event?
I'm not gonna make it to the Keystone event. Like I
That's
said,
good.
we found it's in March. We found out. Yeah. We yeah,
Yeah,
not
you're a
gonna make
busy
it.
boy.
I'm staying busy, but
Yeah. Don't sweat it.
yeah.
Don't sweat it. There'll be more. There'll be more. But yeah, yeah, talk to Anthony. Yeah. Dude, it's good to meet you. I love how the war like there's so many people that I've never talked to. So I always just love catching up with people, like getting to know them. Um, only thing I would love for you is three things actually.
Maybe.
One, I'd love a high res picture of you because I might put I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm gonna put all these on like I'm gonna make thumbnails and put these on as a podcast or a YouTube. Um, so I'd love a high res picture of you. If this was useful, no pressure, but I would love if you would just go to either your social or War Room, whatever, and just be like, hey, I talked to this. Like this is for everybody. This isn't just for War Room. So I'd love for you to, you know, sort of tell the next person that this was useful or just easy or fun or whatever, and like, hey, um, so I'd love that, not for me necessarily, but for other people to, so I can maybe benefit them. Um, and the only other thing is, yeah, when this thing stops, it has to upload on your side, so don't leave right away.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
do. No, hey,
dude,
Alex, thank you tremendously for the time, brother. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. And if there's anything I can ever help out with, if you come to Scottsdale, definitely you know I'm out here.
for sure.